What's up guys, and welcome to the start of something new. So just recently I've opened up a new Discord, and if you head over to there's a channel where you can submit your own replay, and with that I will analyse your replay on stream. So this will be the first one of many. However, I will point out one thing. I was supposed to leave the chat visible on screen so you could see the interaction, but I managed to forget that. But for the future videos there will be chat on screen. Also, the idea behind this video is to help you guys improve, and I'm not picking apart the mechanical errors and things like that. It's just in terms of positional sense, decision making and everything under that sort of subject. And if you would like your replay analysed, then head over to the link in the description below and there will be a Discord link. On there will be a server guide just to help you around the server, and then you'll be able to easily access every single channel. Hope you guys enjoy the video and make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Also, another thing, what I'll do is I'll not point out mechanical errors because they're pretty obvious in most people's eyes, aren't they? It'd be pointless me pointing out mechanical errors, so it's just a case of things like positioning and stuff like that. So for example, I could just point out here, obviously you could have kept this ball closer to you on this touch here, and then obviously got a 50, but it'd be pointless pointing that out. To be fair, in this play, your teammate, I know he's low on 20 here, but he's already in the midfield role, so wherever this ends up, he kind of needs to stay around that area to apply the pressure. So him going fully back here and kind of invading your rotation is pretty much giving them all of his free space. Like, you're not going to recover from that and put the pressure on. It's his job to be able to put that pressure on the ball. And now look, he's got a free play with all the midfield to play with, and you're now obviously positioned on the wrong side of the ball. Now you can't shadow on this side, you're now shadowing on this side instead. So he should have pressured the midfield. Thankfully you're correct. Yeah, put the pressure up. You know, in this sort of situation, so here when you're rotating back, so obviously you've I know you're supersonic here, so you've obviously gained supersonic by using the boost. But what you could have done is obviously drift turned, which you kind of did, and then instead of using the boost to then go supersonic, just flip. You've got the space in front of you. Anytime you've got the space and time, just start flipping. It's obviously going to save you a lot of boost. This is fine. Obviously from a shadowing perspective, your position is fine here. So as soon as this play happens here, then you need to pretty much, so even if he's being demoed or not demoed here, as soon as the ball gets to around this area on the field, you pretty much need to try and position behind him. So start to make this sort of rotation. But the important part is that you're offering not only this area behind him for if he loses it in the corner, but also if the ball ends up in the midfield. So like it did here. So we saw this play. So yeah, positioning was fine here. Should have obviously rotated a little bit further behind here for if it was a bad 50 coming down here, which is more likely to happen than obviously it coming all the way over here. So you should just be offering both options. So that's fine, you read the play. That's fine, and lucky with the 50. Obviously the idea behind this is to just try and keep the ball somewhere around the goal and get a 50. So that's unlucky. Now here, I'm assuming what you do now is rotate straight down the middle here. Well, not down the middle, down the side here, but you're just rotating straight. I'm assuming that's what happens. But what you should be doing is rotating wide here through the midfield, picking up these pads, rotate from midfield here, and then as soon as you get to this position, you're now offering a passing option here, but you're also offering support behind. So let's see. So he completely backs off, even though he's got possession. So he should be shadowing really close here. So he should grab his boost and shadow this. He should be shadowing this ball really close. Instead he backs off. Nice that you're trying to obviously make a play. Obviously as soon as he backs off here, your role is to try and get back in time and disrupt a play. So thankfully he saves it. See you pick up boost. Nice. In this sort of play, when I'm not shadowing the play and I'm not trying to support my teammate in a defensive role, what I like to do is start really wide. And the reason why is because any sort of momentum, any sort of momentum that you need to get, you can easily get it. And so obviously when you go for the actual play, you will have the momentum, but also you're also available for both the midfield and, so if the ball goes down here, and when, say if they go for a pass, I mean obviously they're not going to go pass for here, but let's say, you know, the play is here, if they're going for a pass, you're going to want to stay as wide as possible and cut in field, so that you're blind to the enemy's team, but also you're coming on it with momentum and from an angle to create power. So in this position it's not too bad, but can you imagine if this goes onto the wall? You're kind of at a disadvantage to reach it in time. So if you start over here, a little bit further down the side, then you're offering to go onto the wall, which he's more than likely going to hit it down because he's putting pressure on. He can't control it here. So let's see what happens. So he didn't get power on the ball. Your teammate should be putting pressure on the ball here. He ends up leaving it and almost lost possession. And again, you can't really do anything here, just shadow the play. Good win. So this is still your ball. Take a shot, nice. Unlucky, you tried to get below him, which is nice. It was a good play. Your teammate is way too far back. I know it's off a kickoff and he's gone for boost, but the thing is with when you're positioning for twos or threes, in order to get the rotation going and to get the positioning right, you need to be going the same pace between both players and maintaining the right distance. If you're going back all the way for boost, even if it's kickoff, as soon as that sort of pressure is being lifted off by the first man, so in this situation it's you, and you're out of the play, look at all the possession he's being now given. So even if your teammate is low on boost, he needs to somehow collect little boost pads. So look, he could, where is it? So he could easily turn here, grab this boost pad, grab this boost pad, grab this one, and possibly that one or this one. And then look at the position he'll be in now, with easily 50 boost. So once again in this position, so like I mentioned before, as soon as the ball goes to somewhere around here, just as an indicator, as soon as it goes to around here, you need to be obviously originally positioned here and slowly aim towards this boost. Because if you're here and that sort of touch happens there, you're now out of a play. Whereas if you're here and you're shadowing, if the ball goes onto the wall, you can go onto the wall. If the ball comes down here, then obviously you can pick up the ball because they've just gave the possession away. Or if the ball goes into the middle, you can pick it up. Good save. I think I've noticed, like in this game particularly, there's just a lot of distance in between both of you. you need to try and close that distance down. And I know you said obviously you're playing passive, but passive is one thing, and then obviously positioning too far apart is another thing. You can still play passive and shadow and throw in fake challenges when you're closer. So yeah, if you look at his positioning here, your teammate here is putting all the pressure on, which he should be doing. But a top level player here, he's quick enough to avoid that. So at this point, just ignore your teammate. You know, he's putting the pressure on, which is good, but it's not enough. Now, if you look at his position here, as soon as he drops the ball, he can see the space that you're giving him. So he takes the ball close. Now look at all that space he's got to set up. And there's no fake challenges, there's no positioning side on. It's so obvious that obviously you can't throw in a challenge. And it's lucky that obviously this player isn't a top level player. You shadowed from the right side, which is good. So what he should have done is tried to switch angle. So he should have obviously crossed it, hit the ball across, and then switched it so he was dribbling from the other side. So the ball was on the left side of his car. But if you notice as well here, if you was positioned closer, as soon as he takes this touch here, for a slight moment, he's out of control, and not just the fact that he's out of control, is he can't see you. There's a perfect position for you to look here. So it's a perfect position for you to make a blind challenge. So if you was positioned closer, so what you should have done is position close here, side on, shadow him from this side, not this side. And what you're trying to do is prevent him going down the midfield where he can create space and make a pass. So you shadow him from this side, force him to go down to the wall, and as soon as he takes this heavy touch, you can now challenge. But if he doesn't, and he creates a really good touch, then what you do is obviously back off, shadow from the other side, but you're staying close. And then where your teammate should have done is he should have rotated through midfield, and then obviously he can prevent the pass. So this is good shadowing here. So this was good position here. So look how much closer you are in this position compared to the last play. You're a lot closer here. So if he brings the ball down, you can obviously make a challenge, or he makes a bad touch. So this is good shadowing here. And yeah, unlucky on the 50, like you say, bad 50, but that's fine. But because of the angle that you was at, and the position on the field that you took for 50, out fine. It's not necessarily about getting the cleanest of touches. If the positioning is good, then you should be fine. I mean, he pushed up fine, and then as soon as the play here is made, he needs to shadow. He's from the right side anyway, so he should just turn and shadow it. The 50 was fine, and him pushing up was fine because it baited him in to make him this touch here. But he needs to immediately shadow. Alright, I've got a question then for everybody. So as soon as the kickoff happens here, what do most of you do as soon as this happens? Do you do what this person does here and goes back and expects the teammate to push, or do you push the ball on low boost? If this person here is in a position to collect boost and the other person's already got 100 boost or near enough, and he's in this position here, then he might as well go for it, and then he might as well collect the 100 boost. But if his teammate is already all the way back here, so for example you are here, even if he's low on boost, because he's so far forward, he should just apply the pressure. I see why you kind of left this for your teammate, but I think like there's so much space, like you wasn't underneath the ball, so you could have still gone for it. Like if you was like underneath the ball here sort of thing, it's kind of awkward, you can't really create momentum from this. I think you would have been fine to go for it. But it's really hard to read this because it's just mistake after mistake. Another thing I'd suggest, so along with like the pre-flips and the wave dashes, in this sort of situation, obviously you hesitate, like you could have gone for this, but it's kind of risky to go for it. So obviously where you go to use your boost here, that's where the hesitation came into play. Now if you, let's say, jumped, and obviously wave dash to keep your momentum going, but just the little jump would have made him jump earlier. So as soon as this happens here, you've got to, as soon as this touch happens here, you've got to pretty much either jump and go for it, or jump and fake it to make him go for it. Now in this position here, he can't do anything in this position. Like, there's no way that he's going to make something happen here. So the best odds are you're right not going for it, but just jump and pretty much add a fake to make him jump earlier. It's giving him time to obviously pick out this pass. Good save. These are kind of awkward. But if you notice on like higher level gameplays, what they'll do is they'll single jump for this. So you could single jump for this, flip, and hit it to the left or right, just to try and clear it away further. So these sort of positions, it's pretty much like engraved into everybody's brain, because it's like such a simple thing that you get told, but it's one of the things that you can easily forget as well. So I'll basically say, you know, rotate to the back post when you're going from attack to defense. So this is a simple example here, simple scenario, where you go to rotate, and look, now you're kind of in his line of sight and in his position. So the rotation, what should have happened was collect these boost pads and rotate here. Now you're right in terms of being closer up, so as soon as you go back post, it's not immediately stand here. It's a case of trying to push up towards the front post. So if I look at it from his point of view, because of a rotation that you took, it's kind of awkward, because he's now got the hesitation of, are you going for it or am I going for it? And then if I do go for it, are you actually in position to cover me? So once again, like I mentioned earlier, look for space between you and him. Now, just a guideline is not exactly what you should follow, because it's just a guideline. You want to stay 50-50 between the ball and the goal. So that's just a guideline. So let's say it is positioned here. But obviously, if the ball is in the corner, then there's no way that the ball is going to be fifted or anything like that cleared towards the field down here. So you can push up a little bit further. And now you just got to basically calculate in your head quickly, where is the ball going to go next? And can I position myself to cover the worst possibility? So in this position here, remember, even if you're low on boost, you don't need to go for his corner boost. You just pick up little pads 20 to 30 boost can, you know, you're suited for every situation. So I'm going to pretty much try and take rotation, which should have happened. So obviously you position like this, and then you would try and rotate to the left a little bit to cover the sidewall. And now you should be positioned around here. Because the ball is in the corner, you can position a little bit closer. Now if you compare this to where you are, that distance there is enough to make a massive play. It's about making the curved runs. So what happens here, instead of just going from a B line here, like this, to the goal, you instead take a curved line here, try and pick up pads on the way, remember, and then position in this position here. And then again, obviously he should have kept up the pressure here, but it's fine. Because at this point, now the rotation is just all over the place. So he's cutting a rotation here to try and fill your role. And you've got his rotation to try and fill his role. And now it's all over the place, sorry. You're low on boost. He's just picked up loads of boost, but he's used all of his boost because the ball is on the other side of the field. No, now he's got no boost, and I guarantee what happens is you both leave the ball. You both leave the ball, and now you both realise there's no pressure on the ball. And that's what happens when the rotation. They could have quite easily taken close touches, controlled the ball, relaxed, you know, no need to panic, and it could have set up a dribble play. He could have positioned closer into midfield, opened up space in the middle, created an option, and easily made the pass, and now you've got an open goal and you've conceded. And now look, if you look, it's exactly the same situation again. So he's too far away. But you know, if this sort of situation ever happens because of a mistake in rotation, if you're first man, slow the play down, and then that will give him chance to try and gain the distance again. So he's supersonic this whole time. And you're not. If a heavy touch ever happens, because it's very likely that a heavy touch is going to happen, if you're supersonic, the opponent's going to be supersonic. Some sort of heavy touch is going to happen. Now, if you're not going the same pace, not only can he not maintain the space within the rotation, but if a heavy touch ever happens, because you're not supersonic, you're not going to reach the ball before the opponent. Luckily, in this scenario, the opponent wasn't positioned correctly. And obviously it wasn't exactly the best of pinches. So what you want to do in this position, so a very important tip that any high level 1v1 player will tell you is, when you're in your opponent's half, try and avoid flipping, because it causes overcommits. So this is the exact situation. You want to commit forward for this ball. You can easily take this ball off him, or just, you know, apply the pressure, waste time, and create a 50. Because if you cover the danger, so if you were just like covering this position, not this position, so you're covering this position here, look, you're covering the pass, you're covering pretty much the whole of the midfield. Now what you should do is not flip and take yourself out of play, just jump, and you're pretty much keeping yourself in play. And look, if you jump, you could probably wave dash and recover faster than him, because he's more than likely going to flip. Instead, he gets the ball past you, which is his number one goal. As first man, all you want to do is just try and get it past your opponent. He's succeeded in that. So as soon as this happens here, try and open up the space in midfield, but shadow it. That's the important part. Open up the space, but you're shadowing it. So you take, I went from passive to aggressive, So path you want to take is this sort of path, and open up the space, and you, once again, you're taking the back post rotation. But obviously you're not going to sit here on the back post, are you? You're going to push up a little bit further. You know, like I said, the guideline is 50-50 between you, between the goal and the ball. So that's just a guideline. So, and then shadow the play, cover midfield, position side on, so you can offer both options. And then if you corrected your position was positioned here, then obviously you would be in this position. So if you look now, look how much closer you are to the ball this time. This is perfect positioning. Exact same positions as you've had several times throughout the game, but this time you was positioned closer, and I could only assume the reasoning behind that is because there's 10 seconds left to go, and you've kind of got confidence because you're winning. And you're right in terms of playing passive is the right thing to do if you're playing solo queue, but there's passive and then there's obviously bad positioning.